Hello, Suros Minahan Talk Cosmos host. This is Now Chat 10-minute commentary astrologically, and I'm talking about a communication that hits us all. Australia passed the new law requiring Facebook and Google to pay for the news. It's been going on hotly for the last couple of months and longer than that, actually. And the code approved as of Thursday ensures that the news media businesses are fairly remunerated for the content they generate. And the showdown, it'll continue. You know, a lot of case studies emerging from other countries, the US, Europe, Canada. You know, Facebook, it's the media. Collectively, we do everything on it: business, family, friends, interests. I even searched, and this is amazing to see. I searched for snails and whales, and look what I came up. This adorable picture of this little snail up here from Kelly's Cakes. This is in uh, Raleigh, North Carolina. She makes cakes, cookies, weddings. Wow, doesn't mail them, but hey, if you're in the territory, you can check her out. And she's on Facebook, Kelly's Cakes and Bakes. So that was like, yeah, it is, the whole world is doing something together. But in this world of, we're disconnected physically, and so we rely on the internet platforms. They make up our life. Last March, collective world, the whole population moved from being outdoors to their homes, Zooming, friends, business, connecting on every level. So Facebook also became under great scrutiny after the election in 2016, the lack of control of political advertisements. And that was when Jupiter moved from Scorpio's shadow side of manipulation to the Sagittarius shadow side of unregulated expansion. So when Saturn, the boss, moved from Sag to Capricorn, the controlling interest to establish further limitations and protect misinformation really started getting pushed forward. And they, of course, those planets are in Aquarius, and that's the name of the game right now. And the nodes, there's shifts. We'll look at a chart in a little bit. So really, these increasing restrictive measures from Australia, you know, has a lot to do about the economy. We're all being shut down in various ways, and the reporters need monetary money. And it's an effort to reestablish some of the institutions and the stability. And it reminds me of the backlash in the 90s. The music industry fought for recording artist royalties. People were burning CDs for the music. But you know, earlier in the 80s, the synthesizer came out and it totally stopped the six-nighters, as it was called, of musicians going to the clubs and playing music. That whole industry took a nosedive because musicians could just have, instead of a big group, 5, 8 people up there on the stage, had 2 people, 1 or 2 with a synthesizer. So it is a process. So back wondering about Australia's interest, was it somewhat also encouraged by the horrible fires that we all learned on Facebook? And that could be a reason, because they received a lot of help. And here, I'll show you, and I don't know the exact time on this, but with this chart, and I just knew it was sometime early September 2019, because it lasted until February, and really, and the last fires went out in March, and later we were all stricken predominantly with the COVID. So of course, everybody was glued to the news via the internet, and it served a great purpose. Volunteers and firefighters everywhere went to their rescue, and we were all pain-stricken by the koalas that died. I mean, it's incredible. Australia is home to so many animals that are nearly extinct, and they lost like 5 billion, all, not of one animal, but the whole picture, like 5. The numbers are mind-boggling. The koala bear that everybody just adored, I'm trying to remember a number there, but it was millions, not the billion, but it was really horrible. You know, birds, mammals, reptiles, they thought 25,000, here I'm corrected, koalas, but that was just at one time feared dead. And 244 species not found elsewhere that we're possibly going to get extinct. This is major, and everybody's glued onto it also because of climate change. It was like, wow, how is this changing us? So it's also indicative of the movement with the social energy of Jupiter and Saturn that every 20 years get together. But hey, the last time they did on December 21st, it was a total reset button socially for 200 years, moving from earth-based material thinking of in signs to air, communicative, connecting, collaborating, community thinking. So like GameStop, where little investors came, grouped together and overthrew the hedge fund and really shattered the start of a new possible with like-minded people making an impact. And it's the same thing possibly with Facebook. Here we have countries that are beginning to say, yes, thank you, but on the other hand, you're not dictating how our rules are happening. You can see we have, it's a process. I want to go back to this chart that I've left up on the stage, and you can see that back in that time, really, why is it now with then? If nothing else, you can see that the South Node right now at 15 degrees Sag is conjunct Jupiter at that time. And it also relates very strongly to Neptune that was in square action of a conflict that needed resolution of what we cannot control and with the philosophies. And we're letting go of that energy now in a new way because the South Node represents that at this time. And it's also with the sun and the Piscean energies of looking at everything is unlimited boundaries, yet how can we try with the new moon just passing, how can we begin to fix some of these things so that it's not just going to take us over, that we have some control and that. So it's quite interesting. It seems also that, okay, the Australian government is somewhat definitely recognizing that Facebook has a positive they're going to take because of this coverage, very possibly, I'm suggesting. And so they're taking a year to take into account, is this intention of theirs really working or not, to adjust, because potentially we could be having instead of free, a fee-based Facebook. You know, the situation's happening, and I will put up just the chart for right now, and it's right here, is, okay, the North nodes are still Gemini, and communication is the name of the game. We're going to be talking about things for another 9 months. And if we look at how the environment is trying to cope and try to return to some another start, stadiums for sports is introducing a few audience members, but it's really the elite, deep pockets, people that can really pay for this. And so we're asking, if we're reframing and revolting to create new relationships of what functions operate for social boundaries, the question might become, what boundaries will create the new forms? Because chaos reorients the form. We're in this extended transitional period focused on communication. And how can we gather our information? Will it become one of the major golds? That's GOLDS, a resource of the new world? Not the last say, but surely the field needs evacuation. You could say we need to clear and reform our alliances to repurpose the teams, because teamwork is really the name of the whole key, the name of the new game, you might say, not GameStop, but new game. Thank you. It's Talk Cosmos, and do subscribe. We'll be back daily and on the weekends, wonderful talks, and we love you so much. It's great to connect, and I want those communications. In other words, you can comment right here. All right, good night.